So mental intuition is actually a quality that is in the right hemisphere of the brain. Now the brain is rather complicated. I'm sure if I was a neuroscientist I'd probably know a lot more about it. I'm just actually a neuro enthusiast. I believe everyone should have a brain. So the thing about the brain is it's split between the right and the left hemisphere. The left hemisphere is very much, it breaks things down into parts. The right hemisphere sees everything as a whole. So for example, if the brain was to be looking at this boot, the left hemisphere of the brain would see it in parts. So it would see these little buckly things here, it might see the zip on this side, it might see the heel, but it would see it all as separate parts, not as a whole thing. Now it can also communicate about the boot. So it might look at this boot and say, hey, that looks like you should be on Starship Troopers if you're going to wear that. So the right hemisphere of the brain will see it as a whole. It sees the whole boot, but it's unable to be able to communicate anything about the boot because the right hemisphere of the brain has no words. Now this is where your intuitive mind is actually most engaged, in the right hemisphere of the brain. So to me, I actually believe that people who are more right brain thinkers than left brain thinkers are more adaptable to intuition. However, you've got a right brain, so there's no reason why you can't learn intuition by learning the qualities of the right brain. So for example, I believe, being dyslexic myself, that people who are dyslexic actually have a bigger, or not bigger because then you kind of like look a little strange, you like have a bulbous head, but they actually have a more adapted right hemisphere of the brain for the lacking in the left. So for example, maths, physics, chemistry, spelling, anything to do with logical thinking, sometimes for me doesn't come as easily as my inner knowing something as a whole, being able to get on with people and interact in that way. So really, intuition is a right hemisphere skill. So anything that is right hemisphere will help lead into your intuition. So here's the tip. Spend some time looking at artwork, creating artwork, looking at colour, looking at things as a whole and dreaming in pictures. By doing this, you're able to really engage with the right hemisphere of the brain and not be overlooked by the left.